Welcome, good morning. I want to welcome you all to the first ever UmojaHack Africa. We're so excited about the day that we have ahead for us. We're still sorting out some of the technicalities, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to thank all 1,000 or so students that have joined us today from 70 different universities across 16 countries in Africa. This truly is a first of its kind event to take place in Africa. Welcome to our Zindians in Malawi, Tanzania, Cameroon, Uganda, Zambia, Algeria, Tunisia, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, Kenya, Egypt, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Rwanda, Senegal, Ethiopia, and of course, Nigeria. Where the world is faced today with challenges that are unlike any challenges that we faced in recent history, is that in the face of these challenges, you as a community of students, you as a community of the future data scientists in Africa are demonstrating that you are dedicated to continuing to build your skills, to create new knowledge, to create new solutions that'll help all of society, to help the entire world. So when you join Zindi, you're joining in a community that you can learn from, that you can continue to grow with. That on Zindi, there's either winning or learning. There's no losing.
Hello, my name is Basani Maluleke and I'm the CEO of African Bank. Banks are first and foremost purveyors of trust. Customers must believe that they can trust their banks because ultimately banks have access to an enormous amount of customer data. Advances in technology and in data science over the last few years have enabled banks to work much more smartly with customer data. And at African Bank, we've taken a view that we can utilize customer data to better understand our customers. Given African Bank's history as one of the leaders in unsecured lending, one of our strengths is in credit. Our strengths really are in data analysis and in using data to inform our decisions around credit. As a result, what we are seeing with this new wave of technology is the opportunity to improve on the existing capabilities of the organization to use data to inform all of our decisions. Accordingly, data is a key part of our strategy, and we want to be able to use data much more intelligently to inform our customer value propositions so that we can add value to our customers.
My name is Lindu Miambu. I'm the Group Executive responsible for Human Capital. African Bank is entrenching data into the whole organization, one, because it's one of our strategic pillars, but we need to make sure that we capacitate our people to understand data science more and what it can do for us. So the best way to entrench that in the African Bank community is to make sure that there's an awareness program for our people where people can better understand what data science is and how it's going to help us. So it's a learning journey. We're a learning organization, and we're consistently going to be learning how data science can be used to make African Bank better. At African Bank, one of the things that we have agreed is going to put us forward is that we realize that all of us have to learn, unlearn, and relearn all the time. So what that means is that when we have interns coming into African Bank, we as an organization understand that those people could be the change agents of African Bank. We actually need to be learning from them. And maybe in the process unlearning some of the things that we thought were fantastic. We're trying to create a culture where people come in and feel like they can be heard. That's why inclusivity is one of our culture pillars, because we need to hear them. It doesn't help to bring in people who are bright, people who are young, people who are creative, and then shut them up. I call it making clever people stupid, unclevering them. We don't want to do that.
My name is Veer Milliken. I'm from African Bank. I'm the Group Exec for Credit and Data Science. Just this month, African Bank welcomed 38 new data science trainees into our growing team. We now have a total of 77 data science professionals. We are committed to upskilling and employing brilliant data scientists and welcome opportunities like this to develop and find young talent. What better platform than a competition which showcases the skills of the best talent across Africa?
Hi, I'm Leon De Bruin from African Bank. I am the Head of Data Science and Advanced Analytics. African Bank uses data science to solve interesting business problems using advanced data science techniques on both structured and unstructured data. Not only is data science adding profitability and efficiencies to the organization, but it is also advancing our customers' lives. We are proud to be involved in the Zindi Data Science Initiative, and we wish each of you the best of luck as you showcase all your talents. Good luck.
So good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to some of you. It's really, really amazing to see the great amount of people who've actually joined in and have actually signed up to start hacking away at the challenges that Zindi has put up. And at Microsoft, we've worked with Zindi over a long period of time. They are an amazing company. They've challenged us actually in some of the ways that we approach developers and data science across the continent by giving us new ways and new ideas on how we can actually approach a lot of these challenges. But I think what makes the platform interesting and what makes it really, really work is that Zindi is tackling African problems. And as someone who lives in the continent, as someone who spends a lot of time hopping between various countries across Africa, I can tell you the only thing that will really solve African problems is African solutions. And it's really, really wondrous to see 1,000 people get online and take on these data science challenges. And the challenges themselves are inherently interesting, from identifying marine invertebrates to trying to predict fires in the DRC, and to see the overwhelming reach and the overwhelming work that's been done, that's being done by you guys is just purely amazing. And so I'll talk a bit about what Microsoft's interest is in all this. And the key thing is so we have a division called Microsoft for Africa. And Microsoft for Africa looks after the continent, and we build programs that enable people across the continent. And it takes many forms and many variations, from building skilling programs to train people, to bringing in volunteers from across the planet to come in and help and assist people in various ways and train and things like that. But it also takes another form, which is partnerships, and how we can work with amazing companies to take in very different kinds of very unique kinds of solutions to tackle problems. And I think in this day and age, especially when Corona has hit the continent as hard as it has right now, Zindi is a great platform to do this. The Microsoft vision has always been has recently been to empower every organization and every individual and organization on the planet to achieve more. And I think this ties in directly with that key vision. It's to bring you all and enable you to change the world around you. And I believe, as an African, as someone who has sat in school wondering, what can I do to change the world around me? I think this is a great opportunity for you to actually put your fingers away to typing and hack away at something that will actually impact lives. From a technology standpoint, I have to do my bit of shilling. You can always check out, we've been looking at remote resources, and you can always check out the Microsoft Azure notebooks. So in case you're wondering, hey, maybe I don't have the power to run something on my PC, I'd rather do my notebooks online. Maybe you're using someone else's computer. I have a long story about, I lived on borrowed computers throughout my life in campus. And so you can go in to the link I'll put on chat, which is aka.ms/UmojaHack, and you'll get a link that will take you to our online notebook, so you can easily use the browser to actually write up your code and test and run and even deploy on Azure. And since you're all students, you get access to Azure for free, and there's a link on that link as well. So I am very impressed by the work you guys are doing. And I'm not even talking to Zindi, I'm talking to you students. I am impressed. I have seen the registrations online, and I am very happy. And I'll be very honest, when we talk about young people changing the future, I believe this is it. You are the future of this continent. And that sounds very cliche. I'm pretty sure you've heard it 10,000 times, but seeing it is something else. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as you hack away, I wish you all the best. So go out there, write some code, And as always, stay awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for both the kind words about Zindi as well as the encouragement for all the students. We're really very grateful to Microsoft for all the support in everything we do, not just at this hackathon, but for UmojaHack Africa, the support of having virtual machines running on Azure for people, especially now that we're running this hackathon almost completely remotely. It's an invaluable resource. So we really appreciate Microsoft's contributions a lot. So I'm gonna go now into some of the details of the hackathon. I'm sure what all of you have been waiting on tenterhooks for. Just to cover some of the practicalities, and then we will go into a more technical briefing from one of our data scientists, John Whittaker. There'll be a brief time to ask questions, and then we'll open up the hackathon for you guys to get started. Yes, as you've heard and from everybody else, welcome to the UmojaHack Africa, the first inter-university virtual AI hackathon in Africa and maybe in the world. Briefly, this is the schedule. Please just take note that these times are in GMT. So you can see on the right, we've got all of the countries that are attending or participating. Let me just move this so you can see better. And you can see that it's quite an awesome spread across the whole of Africa. In terms of our schedule, we're currently busy with the welcome and orientation. Right after this, we'll go into a more technical orientation just so that you know a bit more about the challenges that you'll be facing. Following from that, the competition will open at 9 o'clock GMT, that's 11 o'clock Central African time, 10 o'clock West African time, and 12 noon East African time. The competition will run for the next 7 odd hours, around 12 till 1 GMT. So that's about, that's 12 to 1 GMT. That's roughly speaking lunchtime. We're going to have a check-in with our Zente and Seon, two of the organizations who've provided the data for these prizes. So they'll talk a little bit about what they wanted to get out of the competition, where the data came from, and maybe they'll have some tips and tricks for you to better understand the data. So please do check in. We're also going to be giving away some spot prizes at lunchtime if you're on the leaderboard, so make sure you're checked in for that. Submissions will close just before 4:30 GMT, at which point we will have a 15-minute break before we make the announcement for the international winners and the prizes. We will not be announcing local winners, so that will be up to your university organizers throughout the continent to announce local winners. So just briefly to talk about the prizes. First prize goes to the team that submits the best, team or individual that submits the best solution for the SEON Identifying Marine Invertebrates Challenge. The first prize is $1,000 to the team and $7,500 to the university. Runners up in all of these competitions get access to LinkedIn Learning as well as licenses to complete courses on LinkedIn, thanks to Microsoft. Second prize goes to the winners of the Zente Purchase Prediction Challenge. That's $600 to the team and $5,000 to the university. And then third prize to the Hotspots Fire Prediction Challenge. Sorry, that's a typo. That should be $400 to the team and $2,500 to the university. Also, as I said, we will be giving out spot prizes at the halfway mark of the competition. Those prizes will only go to people who have, or teams who have made submissions on the leaderboard. So make sure you're making submissions early so that you have a chance to win those as well. I want to briefly talk about the competition rules because this is an important aspect of the competition that may otherwise get overlooked. So there are full rules available on each of the hackathon challenge pages. We also will have the rules available on the website itself, and you can always check in with us if you aren't sure. But I'm just going to touch briefly on some of the more important ones. People may participate individually or in teams of up to 4 within your university. So your team must be formed within your university. You may only use the data sets provided for the competition. That means you can't use outside data. Your solution must use machine learning, of course, because this is a machine learning and AI hackathon. And if you are working on the SEON image classification challenge, your solution must use computer vision. Then just in terms of some of the practicalities, if your solution places first, second, or third in the final ranking of any challenge, we need you to submit your winning solution code for verification. This will happen after the competition is closed, but this is extremely important to make sure that the winners have not violated any of the rules of the competition. It's important to note that we will publicly announce if any of the winners change, if anybody's disqualified, and the disqualification will affect both the team as well as the university. So any team or university caught cheating will not be able to win prize money at all and will be completely disqualified from the competition. If there's any concern or confusion or uncertainty regarding whether something is going to violate the rules of the competition, please do check with us. We're going to leave this live stream running for people to ask questions. You can ask your university organizers. If you're in contact with the Zindi ambassador, you can ask them. We will help out and we will give you the answers that you need to make sure you aren't violating any of the rules. So just moving on in terms of a few other rules violations, sharing code between individuals that aren't in the same team is not allowed, and sharing code between teams is not allowed. So you're welcome to share code within individuals of the same team, but outside of your team sharing code is not allowed. The solution that you submit has to use publicly available and open source packages, software, and tools only. You can't use any paid software for this. Teams and universities may only win first place in one challenge category, and teams are expected to only enter one challenge. So that means if a university comes first for the SEON challenge, then a team from the same university can't also win in the hotspots challenge, for instance. And then finally, all participants in the hackathon must be registered students at their university, and we will require proof of that for the winners. And then lecturers, university staff, alumni, ambassadors, mentors, all of those types of people are most welcome to help out where they can, but they can't participate. So they need to play a role as a participant only. So let me move this so you can see it. Just briefly, we have a lot of different channels available for communication. We hope that you will use them as much as possible. Primarily, our live stream will be open for questions on Zoom or on YouTube. There's our YouTube channel if you'd like to go and follow. We'll be live all day. Zoom has a maximum of 100 members, so if you can't get into the Zoom channel to ask the question, please ask the question on YouTube, and please ask your question in the chat function. We're not going to allow live questions. So ask the question and we will do what we can to answer it as soon as possible. You can always ask your organizer, your local university organizer, or a Zindi ambassador if you have a question. We have plenty of organizers and we are in direct contact with them. So if they have a question, if you have a question, ask them and they should be able to answer it, or they can pass on the question to us and we'll be able to answer it. We are also maintaining the live blog. There's the link for it as well. That's on our blog page. So the live blog will be kept up to date with announcements and important info. So if there's something that you aren't sure of, you can always go in there to have a look. Then lastly, on Twitter, we're going to be sort of live tweeting the event, keeping people up to date there. So you can always have a look on Twitter at Zindi Africa, and the hashtag that we're using for the hack is hashtag UmojaHack Africa. Please feel free also to share some videos, some photos, tweet about the event, tell us what you're up to. Because this event is completely virtual, it's good to hear from people and from different parts of the continent. I've just got to keep moving this, sorry. I'm nearly coming to the end of what I have to say. A few things to do right now. If you haven't yet, please go log into www.zindi.africa and sign up. Once you've signed up, join a competition. It's under the hackathons page. Jono, who's going to talk next, will run us through that in a bit more detail. On the competition page, pick a competition and make a team. I'll run you through briefly how to make a team now. And then lastly, we're going to be giving away more prizes for people sending in videos. So if you want to send a quick video, just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and why you're excited. It can just be 30 seconds. And we'll share those videos on our channels, and we'll hopefully give away some prizes for the best videos as well. Okay, so that's me. I'll just briefly walk you through how to make a team, because we've had a lot of questions about that, and then we'll play Jono's presentation. So if you're on the hackathons page, the address is zindi.africa/hackathons. Move this again. So say I want to join the Seon group, and I want to Seon challenge, and I want to make a team. The button is here. You click on team, and it says you're not part of a team, so you can create one. There are a number of rules about how to run a team. Then you can put your name in here. There's my team name. I'm gonna click continue. Then here we just simply invite users. So type in their username. You'll have to ask them for their username. You send it, click an invite, and then that should send an invite to the person. As you can see, the person you're inviting has to be able to join the competition. The invitation will go to their email address, so please just make sure you check your email address for the invitation, and then you should be able to form a team. Okay, so I think that's all I need to say. I'm going to put up Jono's technical presentation. So this is an introduction to all of the events, and all of the challenges rather, and then Jono will also be available to answer a few questions.
Hello, and welcome to our first inter-university hackathon, UmojaHack. My name is Jonathan, and on behalf of Zindi, I'll be taking you through a little bit of a technical introduction to the challenges you're going to be facing today. So we'll start by looking at Zindi as a platform, and then we'll go through an example of how you can get the data that you'll be working with, how to make submissions, and so on. And we'll run through each of the 3 main challenges that you'll be facing, just to give a bit of a rundown of what exactly you'll be working on, the data that you'll have to work with, and how you'll be making your submissions. Let's get started. So this is the Zindi Hackathons tab. If you haven't already signed up or signed in, you can do so here. And so when you click on the hackathons, you'll see we have UmojaHack running, and these 3 challenges are open. So heading to one single challenge, this is what a competitions page typically looks like, and same with the hackathons. So you have a couple of different tabs here with information about how it's going to run, the timeline, the prizes, how we'll be evaluating results, etc. So make sure to go through all of those to make sure that you're not missing anything crucial. Under data here, you'll see the data that you'll be working with, but first you have to join the hackathon. Let's do that now. I just need to enter my super secret code, which we'll be sharing with you at the end of this presentation. Okay, so now we've entered that, we've officially joined the hackathon. We can download the data and start exploring. So what's this competition about? Well, the South African Environmental Observation Network, SAEON, don't judge me on how I say that, they might pronounce it differently, they dredge up all manner of weird and wonderful creatures from the sea floor. They go out in a big research vessel and they pull up with these nets. And so they get hundreds or thousands of specimens. So they take a photograph of each one, and then someone has to manually go through and identify what species are present in the image, and optionally like update their field guides, record it if it's an interesting species, keep track of the ecosystem health by monitoring what they find. So the identification is a very manual process. And so our goal today is to help automate that. So you'll be given a lot of images of sea creatures. I think we have 137 different species. So you get examples of each species, and the goal is to build a machine learning classifier that can take in an image and predict what species that image shows. So what makes this competition interesting? Like I said, there's 137 different species. There's not that many images for some of the species, so you have to work with very sparse training data. It's a good opportunity to look at things like transfer learning and data augmentation to help build a better model. And the best part of this competition, in my opinion, is these amazing creatures. It's much more interesting than looking at dogs and cats and cars like many machine learning vision competitions do. Speaking of those amazing creatures, why don't we take a look at some? So this is what the data looks like when you first download it. You get a pair of zip files. Extracting those, we see that the train folder has a separate subfolder for each species. So each species has 10 or more images in its own little folder. And so the way that you can tell which species and images is to look at the folder that it's contained within. It's a fairly common way to share data during machine learning image classification tasks. On the other hand, let's go and look at the test folder. You can see here, there's just a whole bunch of images with no subfolders. This is obviously because we don't want you to know what species these are. Your goal is to figure that out with machine learning. So come submission time, you're going to make a prediction for each of these images in terms of how likely you think it is that this image is a special type of starfish or a shrimp, etc. Those are not the actual labels, by the way. I think they have scientific names, so you'll have to get a bit more technical than that. Let's look through some of these images. Like I said, the funnest thing with this competition is just going to be looking at the pictures. There are some wacky creatures in this world. Okay, so how exactly do you make a submission? We've got our predictions for each of these images, and you've used some different library. Maybe you're a PyTorch fan or FastAI. Maybe you've put them all through TensorFlow, some sort of pre-trained ImageNet model. You've got your predictions. How do you make a submission? So this is the sample submission file provided by Zindi along with the training and test data. And what this shows you is the format that's needed to get a score in the competition, to make a submission. So you can see here the column on the left has the image name. So that's the image file that you're considering. And then all the subsequent columns correspond to one of the potential labels. So this is a single label multi-class classification problem. So your goal is to assign essentially a probability or a confidence score to each category for each image. So for example, if you were convinced that the first image here is of a polychaete worm, you would have, say, 0.9 in that column and very low numbers in all the others, because you're relatively confident that it's this worm, and you're relatively confident that it's not any of the other categories. So that's what your submission looks like. Once you have a submission, you head over to the Zindi site, click on submit, and you can upload and get a score. Now there's a couple of things that quite often go wrong here. Make sure that you have all the right columns and the column headings. It's important to follow the sample submission. Check that you have a prediction for every image. Again, look at the sample submission to see what rows they're expecting. The order isn't super important so long as they're all there, but the order of the columns is very important. If you get that wrong, you might get a really terrible score and not know why. You might also get an error if, for example, you've left in an index column or you've named your column headings differently. So yeah, just try and follow the sample submission as closely as possible. Ideally load that up, edit the actual data in that data frame without changing the shape or the columns or anything like that. Save it exactly as it was, except that you now have actual numbers instead of zeros in the sample submission. Cool, and then your score appears here on the leaderboard. And your goal is to get to the top. In this case, the metric is log loss, so lower score is better. You can try out all sorts of techniques for replicating the scoring process yourself without needing to upload to Zindi each time. This can also help you pick between different models locally and help you refine your data augmentation strategies. So that's a very basic overview of how a competition will run on Zindi, this Seiyang challenge. Next up, we'll take a slightly shorter look at each of the other two challenges, and then I'll go over some general tips, and we can move on to a brief time for any questions or clarifications. Okay, on to the second challenge, the Zente Purchase Prediction Challenge. The task here is a little bit different to the one we've just looked at. Instead of classifying images, you'll be trying to predict whether or not a given customer will make a given purchase on a particular day. So the training data that you provided is essentially a transaction history. So a series of individual transactions by many different accounts. You have the product ID, and in a separate file, you can find out which products fall into which categories. This is something like airtime or television subscriptions or banking services, etc. So you have this transaction history, and you need to go from that transaction history to whether or not a given account is likely to make a given, or to purchase a given product on a given day. So it's quite a tricky mapping. There's some fairly sparse data to work with, but you can do things like grouping customers together, looking at similarities and purchasing trends, looking at how seasonal different purchases are. For example, like a subscription might be once monthly, whereas something like airtime might be daily or weekly, depending on the customer. So you're going to have to come up with some tricks for grouping customers together, for making those predictions, for figuring out how you threshold your probabilities, because the other interesting part of this competition is the evaluation metric. It is the F1 score. So you're not submitting probabilities, you're submitting ones or zeros. So you've got to kind of make your hard and fast predictions and try and optimize so that you can guess which products are most likely, put a 1, zeros everywhere else, and see if you can maximize your score and make it to the top of the leaderboard. So that's the challenge in a nutshell. There will be time for questions afterwards for all three of these challenges. So if something isn't making sense, don't worry. We'll try and explain that. Let's move on to challenge number 3. All right, so we're on to challenge number 3. Hotspots. So this is predicting fires in the DRC. And for this challenge, we actually have a starter notebook to get you going. So instead of just presenting the challenge, I'll run through the notebook highlighting important features. So let's get to that now. So this is the starter notebook. You'll see I'm running it in Google Colab. And I've already mounted my drive, and I can copy across the train, test, and sample submission files from Zindi into the Google Colab environment. So I don't have to actually download the data. I can just interact with it in the cloud with access to all sorts of common libraries and some decent computing resources. So this is a nice way to get around slow internet or slow computer at home. It all just happens on the cloud, provided you've got an internet connection. Okay, so these are some libraries I'll be using, and this is what the training data looks like as provided by Zindi. So you notice there's quite a few different columns, but the important one, the sort of target variable that we're interested in, is the burn area. So there's many different locations all over the DRC, and for each one, for each month, we have the burn area. This is the fraction of that region that has been affected by fire, that's been burnt. Usually land clearing or forest fires, etc. So this is what we're going to be trying to predict. We have a bunch of input variables that are all derived from various open source data sets. So you can go and look at the data page to learn more about these different climate variables. And that is evapotranspiration and precipitation and temperature, minimum and maximum, humidity, vapor pressure, etc. We've also got some simple location-based ones. So you can see there's the latitude and longitude of the point, or the area rather. You've got the elevation, you've got the land cover makeup. So again, you can go check out the details page to learn what the different land cover types are. So this first point, for example, 65% of the area is land cover type 4, and you can go and check what that is. I think there's urban areas or farmland or forest land or dry, arid, etc. So that's the different land covers. Finally, we've got population density, and then we've got another measure of precipitation over that month. So you can see the training data runs from the year 2000. And then the test data is very similar, except that the target variable, the burn area, is set to 0. That's what you'll be trying to predict. And it runs from 2014 up until 2017. So, okay, that's the challenge in a nutshell. The notebook takes you through some feature engineering, looking at which features are important. So you can see, for example, precipitation. When there's more precipitation, there's less burn area. That makes sense intuitively. And you can investigate a couple of the other variables, look at the trends in more detail by doing some scatter plots. And there's lots to explore here and lots to deal with in this data. And you've got to get kind of creative as you add your features, but we start you off with a couple of simple ones. These are just some date-related features. So you can see there's a very strong monthly trend. It's generally the middle of the year when it's dry and land is being cleared for preparation for planting, which is supposed to come just before the rains in November, December. So you can see the sort of seasonal trend of this this phenomenon, these fires. And likewise, you can look at the longer term trends year on year. And then finally, I think this last illustration just looks at the rainfall and how the precipitation and the burn area, you can see there's a very strong inverse relationship there. So the notebook's got a couple more ideas for features. You can also, of course, just get creative with your own. Then the next step is we need some way of seeing how well we're doing. So you could, of course, just submit multiple times to Zindi. You're allowed to submit. I think there's some limit, but you can definitely try more than one submission. But that's very clunky, right? You make your predictions, you upload, you wait for your score, and then that's it. Whereas if you can test locally, you can run through lots of different parameters or lots of different models without worrying. It's very quick to try things. So it's highly recommended that you create your own validation set at home. And this is an example here. You can see everything after 2011 we keep for our validation set, and this will let us get a score locally and get a very good idea of how we'll do in the final leaderboard. So that's splitting our data into train and validation. And then we can just try a very simple model. So here, for those of you who are familiar with scikit-learn and doing sort of regression problems in general, this is very familiar syntax, but we're creating a ridge regression model. So this is one that has built-in cross-validation to pick the regularization parameter for you. It's a very nice, fairly simple linear model. So we're fitting it with our training data, we're making predictions on our validation data, and then we're showing you how to calculate the mean squared error, which is the metric that's going to be used for this challenge. So running that, we can see our mean squared error 0.05. So that's a sort of good baseline, right? That's without much trying, without many features engineered, that's the sort of score that you can expect. Now there's a little exercise here. You can try some different models, play with parameters, and when you're ready, you can start thinking about making a submission on Zindi itself. So this next section here takes you through that. We load the sample submission file provided by Zindi. It's probably got a different name if you download it directly. This is a file that I've been working with, but it has an ID column, which is just the area that you're looking at, and then the date and the prediction. So we need to fill in this prediction column with what we expect the value to be in terms of how much of that area is burnt in that month. And we have the test data, which is very much like the training data. It's just missing the burn area column. So we can, provided we make sure that features match. So remember, we added these columns in the training data, so we'll do the same in the test data. We can then just use model.predict, since this is a nice, easy regression problem. Model.predict to get our predictions. Add that into the prediction column of the sample submission, and you can see we now have values here where we had zeros before. And so as soon as you've done that, you're ready to save. And this starter submission file, which should appear here in the file browser, you can upload this to Zindi and get a score there. You should see that it correlates quite strongly with your local testing score. So that's it. That's the starter notebook for the Hotspots challenge. There's a few little tips here for bumping that score up. Of course, there's many other things that you could do yourselves, and we're really looking forward to what you come up with. Great. All right, I hope you found that informative. If everything goes well, I'll also be online just after this to answer any questions that you might have about any of the 3 competitions. I'll also try and hang around during the whole day to give advice on models you can try, approaches you can take for each of these challenges, and tips and tricks to get your score up. But if I can't make it, I hope you all have a wonderful time and wishing you the
My name is Kyle Cooper. I work for the South African Environmental Observation Network, and we are focused on in situ observations. I'm a data analyst in our knowledge node or our IT node, and I'm kind of the data engineer behind invertebrate species database that we are working with Zindi with.
Cool. And before we go into the specifics of this data set, can you tell us a little bit about what SAON does?
Yeah, so SAON collects, like I said, in situ, which means in the field. It's in the field data for a variety of ecosystems. We have 6 offices or nodes scattered across the whole country, and each node collects specific data for that biome. So we have fynbos, arid lands, grasslands, the offshore ocean, and the inshore ocean.
Okay, great. And so maybe you can then talk about how and why you started collecting this data and what you hope to achieve with that data.
So specifically, the marine invertebrates play quite a key role in the health of our marine systems. They are basically very close to the bottom of the food chain. And I've been working closely with one of our senior scientists at the offshore node, and she collects and identifies all the information, actually as part of our effort for our fisheries department in South Africa. And the marine invertebrates, once again, are kind of, they're called an indicator species or indicator group, where they can give us some kind of idea on the health of the ecosystem. And this we can then relate back to how well our fishery stocks eventually are going to be impacted, and how things will move in the coming years.
Okay, and so and have you been collecting this data for some time?
Yeah, so these data sets, I think, started being collected in about 2012. And then there was a bit of a break between, I think, the 2015s and 2018. But otherwise, pretty much every year, twice a year, they go to sea and they collect this data.
Okay, and have you been able, in that time, have you been able to put the data to good use already? Or the data sets, I should say?
Yes, so one of the biggest things that have been created from this data set is actually a offshore marine identification guide. So essentially a whole book was written about the data. In terms of the actual additional application, you'd have to revert to Lara, who's the senior scientist who works on this more, as I'm kind of more the data guy.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, you as the data guy, you work quite closely with the research scientists to get to be gathering the right data and then to put that data to use. Yeah, so I help them with a system that organizes and shows, and you can search the data and the different kind of not only picture but what we call occurrence and data, which kind of gives us an idea of how many things we are collecting and where we're collecting them as well. Okay, and what do you hope to get out of the machine learning solution that we're trying to hack this afternoon? Basically, it would expedite the process of identifying data and processing data from when we collect it in the field to organized on the database and usable for people. At the moment, the process is extremely time-consuming for the scientists. They literally have to go through every single photo and identify them. So, an image classification, which even if it gives us a high-level rough start, we're already reducing days to weeks of work from having to split and organize all these different images. Okay, great. And in a perfect world, what would this solution look like? Would it be a totally automated solution so that it frees up scientists' time? Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, it would be, some kind of complete system where you could almost just upload an image to a website and it would just say, cool, this is what it is, essentially. And I think that's our shoot for the stars goal. But we obviously are very,
aware of the practicalities and limitations that do exist out there. So that's kind of the perfect shot.
Well, I think, but from the sounds of it, this is a good place to start on that shooting for the stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks. I probably should call it shortly. Do you have a message for everybody participating right now?
Yeah, thank you so much for participating. I hope you enjoy looking at the weird and wonderful little creatures that scuttle around the South African waters, which we call marine invertebrates. There's some fascinating things in there. And yeah, I hope it's going well. Good luck, and stay healthy in this trying time.
Cool. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Thanks very much to Kyle. We are still trying to get hold of Alan from Zente, but for now we might just briefly check in with some of our ambassadors who are still at physical hackathons around Africa. Please just give me a moment to check in with. Okay, there we go. Hi, Sam.
Good.
How are you? I've got Amy
right.
here as well.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Amy. Hi, Amy.
Oh, great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too.
Glad to see you staying safe out there in Malawi. Okay, so just for everybody on the live stream, can you just introduce yourself quickly, tell us where you are, and then we'll ask you some questions about how it's going.
Okay, fine. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Moschini, from Malawi, the University of Malawi, the Polytechnic. I'm the Zindi ambassador here, and we're really glad to participate in this hackathon. We've been looking forward to it, and we're so much grateful because a lot of entities have helped in making this possible, especially with the current situation of the pandemic, the corona pandemic. So thank you very much, and yeah, I think we can get on with the questions now.
Cool. So how many people do you have there at the Polytechnic today?
We have about approximately 6-7 people participating, and then the others that came in late and really glad to watch. So they're just like watching from a distance.
Okay.
I'm currently smiling, but I'm afraid you can't see me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you like to take a tour?
Yeah.
Like
why don't you walk us around and introduce us to a few of the participants?
Okay. All right. Let's do that. So this is our design studio for the Malawi Polytechnic.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Nyasha.
Hi there.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Nyasha, and I'm part of the participant. Sorry, I'm part of the people who's watching what's happening here. And,
cool, that's brilliant.
Okay, so doing the studio. Hi, I'm Ego, and we are part of the guys like part of the programs.
I am Reynold. I am participating in the computer vision challenge. It's nice to see you.
How do you find it?
It's great. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so still on. Just give us a second. There's some other people. Here's a group.
Hello.
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 Hi, everyone. What challenge are you guys participating in?
We're participating in
the Zindi purchase competition.
Okay, great. And how's it going?
Come again?
How's it going? How are you finding it? Is it tough, or are you making progress?
Yeah, it's a bit tough, but then we have some progress.
Okay, that's brilliant. Nice to hear. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so that's about it. Then there's a few other people just here to watch. And here's our small setup.
Cool.
We got the issue of projection though.
But it's nice to see you've got a screen there so that you can at least see what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So are you having any issues or things that you need help with out there?
Well, not really. Well, initially when we were starting, we had one of our participants, the one participating in the computer vision challenge, had an issue importing the data from the drives to Google Colabs, but then we got past that. So yeah, Amy helped us. And the other issue was working with CSVs, one of the groups. I think we actually made progress with that as well. So we're really hyped in trying to at least send something before lunchtime. But yeah, that was a bit challenging. As you can see, we're not on the leaderboard yet, but they're actually saying they'll have something pretty soon.
Okay, brilliant. Nice. That's awesome. Thank you so much for checking in, Sam. I'm going to leave it there. I wish you guys all the best for the rest of the competition.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Cheers, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are hopefully going to check in with university in Lagos as well later on today. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll be back online in a little bit. Cheers. Everyone knows who you are.
Yeah. My name is Rahim Nasruddin. So I'm also an activist in India, and I'm currently an intern at AXA Nigeria. So I work for insurance company as a data scientist. So and Zindi is also my second time full job also. So that's all about me.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure the video is working. Good. Okay, so what challenges are the people at Unilag taking part in? Are people trying all of them?
Yes, we are trying to take all of them. We are taking all of them.
Okay, and is anyone on the leaderboard there yet?
Yes, I think the second challenge, that's the intermediate level.
Yes.
You see, are just trying to struggle on to have, that data is somehow, so they have to crack some things in order for them to get the data in the right format. But as
I think
in the machine learning, they are already there.
I think it looks like the intermediate challenge is quite difficult. I think people are struggling a little bit.
Like Uber challenge, like for us to crack the target video, that's awesome.
So are you just hanging around and giving people some advice and help? What are you doing there at the moment?
Yes, I'm just staying around to give people some advice to see what's going to happen. If anyone is stuck, okay, how can you move forward a little bit? So as in normal, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to assist, if I can assist, that he won't make sure to break the rules of the competitions.
You must be a bit sad that you can't participate yourself.
It doesn't matter. We are together now. We are trying to
that's
better. So yeah,
that's really cool. Right. And do you have anyone there from Data Science Nigeria?
Yes, I think we have Yemi here. I think that is Yemi. I think we have someone from Data Science Nigeria. He's also the one taking care of one of the people organizer here.
Okay, brilliant. Maybe he can introduce himself as well. Hi, is that Yemi?
Yeah, that's me. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing too?
I'm good. Nice to meet you this way. So how's it gone there with the organization? Has DSN been involved and been helping?
Yeah. So far so good. We have been doing a lot of stuff here, and right now we have guys on the intermediate, we have guys on the beginner, and we have guys on the advanced. So we try as much as possible for people to actually include Unilag in on their team name, so that it will be easy for Zindi. And I have some other guys here too, like Nasiri and Tunde, that came to help out on the organizing. So what else? And we try to balance the gender between male and female.
That's great. Yeah. So you have a lot of women participating as well?
Yeah, we do.
That's excellent. Okay, and how are people enjoying themselves? How's it going? Are they struggling? Is this the first time to use Zindi for them?
Yeah, they're actually having nice time here. I don't know whether I can just show you around to actually look at what people are doing.
Yeah, please.
So you can see everybody's busy working on their model, and we have some other guys. We have the guys what are you doing, guys? They are doing the advanced. So these are the guys doing the advanced challenge.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have so a couple of guys here working on the beginner part. That's Eniola, Anthony, and see this Amina. So
Hello.
yeah, everybody, the whole house is full. So luckily enough for us in Nigeria, COVID-19 has not actually affected us like that. So we can still gather together and have a good ambience for this particular, So we have some other guys here too, still working on it.
Hi guys. Yeah, I think it's great that you guys can still gather in one place. It's I think some of the other universities, they've been struggling not to be able to gather in one place. So it's really nice to see you getting together.
Actually, our university will be closing down today by 4. So immediately after the hackathon, everybody moves out of the university. So luckily enough for us, we could still, come together and still have the hackathon here.
Yeah, okay. Cool, that's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna leave it there, just so that people can get back to working on their challenges.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Yemi. Thanks very much for your time and for all your hard work organizing this competition. And if Nazir's still there, please say thank you as well to Nazir for his assistance and Tunde. And all the best for the rest of the competition. Hope to see you at the top of the leaderboard there from UniLab.
Thank you for that.
All right. Great. Cheers, guys.
All right, guess what? Ahmed.
Thanks, Nazir.
No problem.
Okay. Just for everybody on the live stream, we're just taking a quick break. We've got 2 hours to go, but we have Alex Tsado from Alliance for AI here with us. So Alliance for AI is one of our sponsors. He's kindly come on board to sponsor 2 specific universities, as well as be a partner in distributing our messages. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself, and then we can have a quick chat about Alliance for AI and what you do for data science now?
Oh yes, definitely. If you give me 2 seconds here, I'm just fixing my screen.
Sure thing. That's no problem at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think it should be great. So everyone can hear me properly, correct? Paul, you can let me know.
Yes, yeah, the audio is nice and clear, thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful, that's amazing. Well, for everyone who can hear my voice, yes, hello, big hello. This is Alexado from California. I see that you're all in the heat of competition, at least that's what I hear. You are all heroes and heroines for doing the work that you're doing, and I'll tell you more about that later. For me, I'm Alexander Sado. As I've said, I wear 2 hats broadly. The first hat is really working with NVIDIA. I lead product there for cloud computing. What that really means is I work with all the Microsoft Cloud, which some of you are using, Google Cloud, Amazon Clouds, and ensure that they have GPUs for you to use for your AI and data science. And then the second hat, which Paul started to speak about, is I did found Alliance for AI, which is Africa's community of AI communities, so that as a continent we have one voice on the global arena, and we can show the world what we're capable of. And so it is, it's an honor to partner with Zindi to co-sponsor this hackathon and give you this platform to show your work. Paul, if it's okay, I can continue speaking on a few other items.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to hear, we've got a bit of time, so I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what Alliance for AI does.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, Before I jump into that, I'll just reiterate the earlier point to those who are listening and say why I've called them heroes and heroines. You know, it's really huge what they're doing here. The fact that all of you, thousands of you, showed up today, you are proving to yourselves, your governments, and the rest of the world that Africa has thousands of brilliant minds who can work on tough challenges using artificial intelligence, which is, you know, the world likes to call it the most important tool that humanity has built since we made our way to this planet. AI, of course, is important because it has a potential to create thousands of jobs, not just around the world, but even in Africa. And so all of you are heroes, champions, winners, because you were the first ones through all adversities of COVID-19. As you could see, I'm stuck in my house here in California. Thank God I have the Maasai picture I picked up in Kenya last year. But you are, in your spaces, competing and solving problems. So that's huge. And so as Alliance for AI, we're here for you as your community of Africa AI communities. Please go and contribute to it, as it's there to support you through your journey of AI beyond today. I think I might be able to share my screen and even just show a few things with a few moments that we have here. So if I did this and share. So yes, confirm that you can see my screen, Paul.
It says that you started sharing your screen, although there isn't anything on the screen currently. There we go. Okay, you're good. We can see your screen. Alex, you can go ahead.
Well, guys and girls, if you are wondering, this is what Alliance for AI is. It's a website, allianceforai.org. It's that platform, as I've mentioned, the Africa AI Community of Communities. You can come here and find whatever you're looking for. And I can see there's a number here about Zindi, which Zindi has surpassed. So we'll look at that. But really, on the very first page, you can come and find training programs across the continent, that are teaching people about AI. There are startups using AI to solve problems or building AI across the continent. So you can look for the ones in your city. And so, like I said, it's your platform, contribute to it. If you have more startups or training programs, or even stories of how people are using your AI solutions, come here and add them. You literally need to go to the Engage tab. It's pretty simple. And you tell us what you like to add. We'll have a close look at it and qualify it. Beyond that, if you're looking for some inspiration beyond today, there's a tab called Inspiration. You can find stories of what other Africans are doing with artificial intelligence, from stories from the users, or you can find over 50 AI leaders on the continent, guys and girls, and learn what they're doing with the technology. If you're looking to learn, you can also come here and we have some, short information and mostly suggestions on things, places where you can find more information on whatever type of AI you're interested in, whether be it speech, NLP, or computer vision. I've actually got one of these pages open, the Africa context. On that page, we go deep into describing how you can find Africa-centric solutions to issues like data. I know over 80% of you find it challenging to find the right data. And so we list for you here some of the open data sets that are free that you can access, right? This is not fully complete. And so it's up to you to even suggest to us what to add here as we want to continue building this out for you to be able to answer these questions, both from an African point of view. Kind of closing my statement here, if you're also looking to, you can come and explore the platform yourself. On the list of programs, you can see there are 4 programs here. You can check them out yourself and see which ones interest you. The easiest one, I believe, is a newsletter where we keep you updated on what other Africans and the rest of the world are doing with AI. You can follow the newsletter or pick your favorite social media like Twitter to follow. And yes, with that, I will say Once again, it's a great pleasure to address you, and I wish you best of luck through the rest of the competition. I think you have barely 2 hours to go. Over to you, Paul.
If you don't mind, I'll just ask you a few follow-up questions, just so that we can have a little conversation before you go.
Yes.
You are obviously in touch with a lot of AI communities and AI practitioners, both in the US and in Africa. Would you have any little tips or pieces of advice for data science students now just entering the workplace for the first time?
Yes, definitely. Well, my advice is stay there if you're a data science student, because you're picking up the most important skill that there is in the world that is unfolding very quickly in our time. So you are extremely lucky, luckier than I am, luckier than Paul is, because you're jumping into this field really early on, and stay there. In addition to knowing the data science, I must advise that it's great to also have some domain expertise in the industry that you're in, either by yourself or by partnering with other people who you bring to your team, if it's a startup or a company that have that domain expertise. When I say domain expertise, I suggest things like, if you're working on a healthcare startup, you should have a doctor or someone along those lines who is on your team, so that you're actually solving problems that people care about. And if you're doing data science in Africa, this should be the last one, I think. I think it's important to prioritize problems that affect everybody, right? I think there's no better time than COVID-19 to see that, startups who are in the food space and thinking about providing food, like in a pandemic like this, or in a war, people still want to eat. So if you had a company that's providing food, you will always sell. So think about that. Also in healthcare, people always look for access to health. And so startups in the healthcare space are incredibly important. And so it's important to prioritize the kinds of problems you try to solve with this important tool that we have in our hands.
So yeah, so you're talking about, I guess, finding opportunities in adversity.
Yes. Well, the opportunities that exist in adversity apply throughout life. Whereas if you were building a tool, I don't want to shit on anyone's work, but there are tools that you can build that are not important all the time, or only important to small subsets of the populations. And so those are riskier ventures to be in. Those ventures today in the COVID-19 crisis are not selling anything because people are not paying attention to them. People want to get food, want to get healthcare, want to get access to loans and money.
And because you're in the space, do you have any comments on the things in the AI machine learning space that you think are really exciting, trends that you're seeing at the moment, or things that people should watch out for in the next few years?
The underlying technologies continue to improve, right? The modern AI became what it is roughly 6 years ago because we started to have really powerful computers on top of, well, first it was NVIDIA GPUs, but now there are several other companies who are also building really important technology. And so it will continue to get faster. And as it gets faster, the innovators can build more useful tools. Last year was the year of conversational AI. It ended with conversational AI, and it's going to continue into this year, where people are now able to build more useful NLP tools, language tools, so you can now do translation and provide access to technology. Think about it. Most technology today is deployed in English, but most of the world does not speak English. And so with AI and NLP and conversational AI, you can now help translate it to their languages, right? So it becomes more accessible to them. So that's conversational AI, and that was big last year. It will be big again this year. Recommender systems will be big as well, because the internet now has trillions and trillions of data sets. So it's difficult to find what you need. So most companies are looking to recommend and personalized solutions for you. And so these are things that are going forward. And so this is why it's also incredibly important that the African innovators get access to these powerful computers, as it will enable their smart minds to unlock and activate their genius so that they can build incredible solutions in Africa. And that is why I'm glad to see powerful names on the sponsorship with Zindi. Like I think I believe you have some sponsorship from Google, from Microsoft. It's incredible to see them on there, as they will provide access to the cloud and hopefully powerful CPUs and GPUs for African innovators.
Absolutely, I think we've been incredibly lucky to have the kind of sponsorship that we've gotten, and I think it shows that what we're doing here is important, and the people that are participating today are important to these big corporates. I wanted to take a moment to just give a little shout out there. You mentioned NLP and you mentioned recommendation engines. In this hackathon right now, students around Africa are working on a recommendation or a prediction challenge for Zente. So that I think is very cool. And then on the NLP side, we do also on Zindi have an NLP challenge where participants can make submissions for NLP models in African languages, so underserved languages. So I think if for anyone interested in catching a ride on that next wave of conversational AI, I think Zindi's got an awesome challenge running right now that you can get involved in.
That's incredible. If I could add on top of that, that right there is special, right? When I talk about speaking as one voice at the global table of innovation, one African voice, African solutions will bring something unique to the table. We bring those edge cases, we bring that mindset of building solutions that are affordable and accessible and push the limits, like we're doing with underserved languages. We're doing that because we are the ones who have the underserved languages. So we have to build solutions for that. The rest of the world is not focused on that challenge, but then the solutions we're building in Africa on Zindi will be applicable to the rest of the world and surpass whatever is getting built outside my door here in Silicon Valley, because the people here are building with surplus, and so they're building for surplus, and that doesn't work for the rest of the world. And so I really commend the work you guys are doing on Zindi. I think it's truly incredible, and yeah, proud to be in your midst.
Great, thank you so much, Alex. Before I sign off, do you want to, we've got the Alliance for AI website address there. Do you want to just tell the participants where they can find you on social media and anywhere else, or how to register for the newsletter?
Definitely, definitely. We try to make it easy here. Right on the first homepage, you see most things. You can see the Join Alliance for AI here, or you can see the same color, it's join the newsletter, or on social media, we have all these links up here where you can see the social media links. And on each and every one of them, it's Alliance for AI, right? One of the examples is Twitter, where you see Alliance for AI. So you could just find us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and follow the platform. And then finally, programs is where you can really, if you wanted the description of the different things we do, you can come to programs and read and see we have solutions for everyone. The newsletter, we have solutions for schools, people in secondary schools and colleges. We can give you a self-learned kit so you can start your own AI club. And then we have a solution for startups where we can run a clinic with you and answer questions that you have. This, depends on the availability of mentors. But yeah, you can let us know what you're interested in, and we'll try to find mentors around the world who can speak with you virtually on the challenges that you have. And of course, the global advocacy, you can watch videos of how we've represented the continent in the past.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alex. Let's leave it there. I'm sure people are anxious to get back to solving their solutions. I really appreciate you waking up at the crack of dawn over there to chat with us. And I hope you'll be following along with the live stream as we wrap up this competition.
Yes, thank you very much, and good luck to everyone. You're all winners, and I look forward to those who carry the crown today. Cheers.
Thanks very much, Alex. Cheers. So thanks everybody for tuning in. You have 1 3/4 hours to go till the end of the competition. We wish you all the best. Hey everyone, the competition is now closed. Well done to everybody. It was really exciting to see so many submissions and seeing you all working so hard on these competitions.
Okay, cool. Welcome back. Great. Hi, Davis. Welcome back, everyone. Congratulations again on a really great day. We were so excited here in the office watching the leaderboards blow up and watching you guys work so hard and seeing all the social media chatter and the videos that were coming in. So thank you so much for all your incredible engagement. This was just, yeah, an inspiration to be able to see you guys working so hard on solving real problems that have real impact. So this is the moment that everyone's been waiting for. We have the final winners, but before we say announce the winners, I wanted to re-emphasize one of the rules that Paul introduced, or we also have to talk about the code review as well. So one of the rules that Paul explained at the beginning of the day is that you know, in the spirit of being able to give all of the universities an opportunity to benefit from the prizes that we've been able to get for this hackathon, the idea is that the top data science team, the top student team that wins a prize in any of the competitions will be the only winner from that specific university. So it's to say that multiple prizes will not go to the same institutions. And that includes the first, second, and third prizes for all, you know, first, second, and third competitions. So with that in mind, I want to, it's my pleasure to be able to announce the final winners of the 3 challenges. Okay, maybe I should share. Okay, I won't share my screen. So we're going to start with the Hotspots challenge, which was the beginners challenge. Congratulations to everyone who participated. In third place, we're very excited to announce in third place we have Brainiac from Moringa School. In second place, we have Lawrence from Multimedia University, I have it here, of Kenya. And congratulations, in first place, we have Team G-Frost, or G-Frost from Stellenbosch University. Okay, thanks. Okay, so, oh, but you're gonna have to remind me the prizes. So, okay, so I'm gonna move on to the second leaderboard for the Sensei Challenge. We have in third place, we have M453H from Nelson Mandela Institute in Tanzania. Congratulations. In second place, we have Xander from Federal University of Technology, Akure in Nigeria. And in first place, we have Statistically Significant from UCT. Congratulations. So, and then I'm going to move on to the biggest prize competition that we had for the day, which is the Seon Challenge. In third place here, we have Team Deep Divers from Unilag. Congratulations. In second place, we have Team HMF Tunisia from ENETCOM. And then in first place, we have Rinik from SUPCOM. So congratulations, all of you, on an amazing performance. So again, just re-emphasizing the prizes that each of you have won. For the Hotspots Challenge, the top winners will get $400 in prizes, along with a LinkedIn license and a voucher for a certification on a Microsoft course. The second and third prizes on all of the competitions are also going to be LinkedIn licenses, which has a value of $180, which gives you 6 months of access to really great learning content. So that's for the second and third place winners for all of the competitions. And again, on the Hotspots Challenge, the first place winner has $400, and to the university is $2,500. In the Sente Challenge, the winner of that challenge gets $600, and the winning university is given $5,000. And in the Seon Invertebrate Challenge, the #1 challenge, the winner wins $1,000, and the winning university will win $7,500. So again, congratulations to everyone who participated. As Lawrence had said, on Zindi, there's only winning or learning. So congratulations to everybody. I hope that everyone learned a lot today and had a lot of fun. I think there's one more sign off. Yeah.
Again, everyone, I'm sure you're possibly sick of seeing my face by now. I just wanted to do a vote of thanks at the end of this competition. Organizing a competition like this is, I don't think, unless you've done it, you could imagine how much work it entails from how many people. There has been an incredible amount of work in the background, and this includes a lot of people at the Zindi team, the whole of the Zindi team, in fact, as well as a lot of work from all of our ambassadors across Africa who are part of our bigger team. A lot of work from all the university organizers as well, and of course, all of our sponsors. So I'd like to say a really big thank you to everyone that participated, and then of course to every one of you participating and joining and making a submission, a lot of you making your very first submission. A really heartfelt thank you from all of us at Zindi for making this possible. We couldn't do it without you, and I think we wouldn't want to do it without you. So it's been really an absolute joy for us to put this event together for you and see everybody participate so enthusiastically. Going forward, this was really a grand experiment for Zindi to see what we could do and see what kind of interest there was from everybody around Africa, and the levels of participation really blew our mind. In the end, we had more than 1,000 students, and that is just incredible for us. We want UmojaHack Africa to continue from today. We will, of course, do another one, perhaps this time next year, for the whole of Africa. But at the same time, we want every one of you to think about an UmojaHack for your country. We'd love to hear about an UmojaHack Tunisia, an UmojaHack Malawi, an UmojaHack Senegal. That would really bring us a lot of joy, and I think would be a really fantastic thing for data science and machine learning on the continent. So if there is anybody out there right now who thinks they have what it takes or are excited to run this kind of competition again, a virtual competition again, please do get in touch with us. We'd love to support you with the platform and see how many people we can get at the next one. We'd also like to say now that, considering circumstances around the COVID-19 outbreak and the fact that many of you will be working from home and not able to attend universities over the next few months, possibly, we are really excited to announce that Zindi is going to be offering a series of virtual hackathons over the next few weekends. A lot of them will focus on COVID-19 data, and ideally that will be COVID-19 data from Africa. We do also have a global COVID-19 prediction challenge running, but hopefully we will be announcing more news about those over the next few days and weeks. But we invite all of you to join in from wherever you are. And I think today has proven that you can participate in a hackathon from the comfort of your own home. So I hope you are all looking forward to those. On that note, I think that's all from us. I hope that in your individual universities and groups, you will celebrate your own winners. I think at the end of the day, everyone here has been a winner. So once again, thank you to everyone for participating. We really appreciate your enthusiasm and your involvement, and we will see you at the next one. Cheers.